Excuse me?
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with me.
Hey, me as well.
You know,
Feel bad.
we had so much fun with that last Explicato video that we thought,
Oh, yeah.
why not tackle another one, right?
Let's do it.
And this time we're talking about the Delaware Aqueduct.
This one's a classic.
And we're going to, separate facts from fiction, or at least try to, right?
Well, we'll do our best. That's for sure. These Explicato videos are...
Yeah, they're fast-paced.
They are really entertaining, but sometimes a few things slip through the cracks.
Yeah, and we're going to see if we can, fill in those cracks a little bit.
Right, maybe add a little bit more context, a little more information.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't get over that whole, subway car driving through the aqueduct thing.
I know, right? It's like, where did that come from? But we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will definitely get to that.
Okay.
So let's start with just the basics of this thing.
Right.
I mean, 85 miles long.
85 miles.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's like driving from New York City to Philadelphia almost. Underground.
Underground the whole way. Can you imagine?
It's just mind-boggling.
It really is.
And it's all gravity-fed.
Entirely gravity-fed.
No pumps or anything like that.
Nope. Just a slight slope.
Yeah, like 2 feet per mile.
It's incredible how they engineered that.
Yeah, I mean, talk about harnessing the power of nature.
It's a testament to those engineers.
Yeah, so it's like a giant water slide, but
Way less fun.
definitely way less fun.
Yeah.
And much more important.
Absolutely essential for millions of people.
Okay, so speaking of essential, let's talk about the people who built this thing.
Oh, yeah. The sandhogs.
Sandhogs.
They were the real heroes.
Yeah, they weren't like,
Not hogs that liked sand.
Right.
No, these were the workers who dug the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, they were working in like darkness and dust and who knows what else down there.
Oh, yeah. Dangerous conditions.
Mhm.
Constant threat of cave-ins.
Yeah, they were tough.
Tough as nails. And, they say that for every mile of tunnel dug, one sandhog lost their life.
Wow, that's a sobering thought. It's a reminder of the human cost of these incredible projects.
Yeah, for sure. So their legacy lives on, though, in every drop of water that flows through that aqueduct.
Absolutely.
Okay, so speaking of water flow, let's talk about those leaks.
Ah, yes, the
Yeah.
leaks. Explicato made a big deal about those.
Yeah, they said enough water escapes to give one person over 1.7 million showers.
It's a lot of showers.
That's a lot of showers.
Yeah, and it's not just about the wasted water. It can also damage the tunnel itself.
Right, so it's not just a leaky faucet. It's like a potential...
It's a gusher.
Yeah.
A potential disaster.
Yeah, so that's why they have those massive repair projects going on, right?
Exactly. They're trying to fix those leaks and reinforce the tunnel.
Okay, so how do they even do that?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just shut off the water to New York City for a few months while you work on it.
Right, they had to get creative.
So what did they do?
Well, first they built a bypass tunnel.
Bypass.
Yeah, a 2.5-mile-long twin to the existing aqueduct.
So like a detour for the water?
Exactly. It allows them to divert the flow while they work on the main tunnel.
And how did they even build this bypass? I mean, that sounds like a massive project in itself.
It was. They use these gigantic tunnel boring machines.
Like those mechanical earthworms I've seen pictures of.
Those are the ones.
Incredible pieces of machinery.
Yeah, so once they got that bypass in place, they could actually start fixing the leaks in the original tunnel.
Right. They use a variety of techniques, including something called grouting.
Grouting.
Yeah. They inject a special cement mixture into the surrounding bedrock to seal those leaks.
So like giving the tunnel a giant shot of sealant.
Exactly. And they also line sections of the tunnel with steel to reinforce the structure.
It's like giving the aqueduct a complete makeover.
All while it's still working. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really is. So now that we've talked about the leaks and repairs, let's talk about the size of this thing, because Explicato is really emphasizing that.
Oh, yeah. They said a subway car could drive through it.
Yeah. Is that even true?
Well, the aqueduct is about 13.5 feet in diameter.
And a standard subway car is around 10 feet wide.
So technically it could fit.
Technically, yes.
But you couldn't actually have like a subway line running through there, right?
Well, there would be a few logistical challenges.
Yeah, just a few. I mean, you'd need tracks and electricity and ventilation and...
And the floor is underwater,
Yeah.
so maybe not the most practical idea.
Okay, so no aqueduct subway, but it's still a fun thought experiment.
It is. It just shows how massive this structure really is.
Speaking of massive, Explicato said the Delaware Aqueduct is the longest continuous tunnel in the world.
They did say that.
Is that actually true?
Oh, it's a bit more complicated than that.
Okay.
It did hold that Guinness World Record for a while.
It did.
But there's now a longer contender. The central line of China's south-to-north water diversion project.
How long is that one?
Almost 900 miles.
900 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, it's massive.
But the Delaware Aqueduct is still the longest continuous tunnel in the Western Hemisphere.
So what does continuous even mean in this context?
It means it's one uninterrupted stretch. No segments, no breaks. Just one long tunnel.
Ah, okay, so the Chinese tunnel might be longer overall,
Yeah.
but it's probably made up of multiple sections connected together.
Exactly. And that's a big difference from an engineering perspective.
How so?
Well, building a continuous tunnel over such a long distance presents unique challenges, especially when you consider the different types of rock and soil the tunnel had to pass through.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a much more complex undertaking.
Okay, so the Delaware Aqueduct may not be the absolute longest anymore, but it's still a remarkable feat of engineering.
Oh, absolutely.
No question about it.
All right, so let's move on from the tunnel itself and talk about where this water actually comes from, the Catskill Mountains.
Ah, yes. The Catskills, beautiful and pristine.
And they were named after a wildcat who demanded to have a mountain range named after him, right?
Well, that's what Explicato said.
Yeah, so is that true?
Not quite. The name actually comes from the Dutch Catterskill, meaning Wildcat Creek.
So no demanding wildcat.
No, but there were probably a lot of wildcats in the area. Okay, so it's mountains named after a creek named after wildcats.
Exactly.
That's still pretty cool.
It is. It's a connection to the natural history of the region.
So we've got this water flowing from the Catskills through this incredible tunnel and ending up in New York City.
Billions of gallons every day.
It's amazing to think about the journey that water takes.
It really is. And it's all thanks to the vision and hard work of the people who built this system.
Yeah, the sandhogs, the engineers, the planners.
All working together to create something truly remarkable.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but we're not done yet.
We've only just scratched the surface.
That's right. We'll be back after a quick break to delve even deeper into the fascinating world of the Delaware Aqueduct.
Stay tuned. We're back and ready to dive even deeper into the world of the Delaware Aqueduct.
I'm ready. I'm still thinking about those sandhogs and the incredible work they did.
Oh, yeah, those guys were tough.
Yeah, seriously. Imagine working in those conditions day in and day out.
It's hard to even fathom, isn't it?
It is. So let's talk a bit more about the engineering behind this aqueduct.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
It wasn't just a matter of digging a straight line from the Catskills to New York City, right?
Oh, no, not at all. They had to take into account the different depths, the types of rock and soil they'd encounter, even underground water sources.
It must have been like navigating a maze underground.
Basically. And they had to make sure the tunnel had a consistent slope so the water would flow properly.
Right, because the whole system relies on gravity.
Exactly. If the slope wasn't right, the water wouldn't flow efficiently.
It's like designing a giant water slide, but underground.
A very precise and important water slide.
Right. And they had to make sure the tunnel itself could withstand the pressure of all that water.
Absolutely. And the pressure from the earth surrounding it, too.
It's mind-boggling when you think about it.
It really is, especially considering they did all of this over 100 years ago without the technology we have today.
No GPS, no laser levels, no giant tunnel boring machines.
Nope. They had to rely on their skills and ingenuity.
Well, they certainly had plenty of that.
Speaking of ingenuity, did you know they used mules to haul materials underground?
Wait, mules? Like the animals.
Yes?
Mules. They were strong, sure-footed, and could navigate those tight spaces.
Wow. I can just picture them down there in the tunnels.
It must have been quite a sight. And they weren't the only animals involved.
Oh, really?
They also used carrier pigeons to relay messages between work crews.
Carrier pigeons in a tunnel.
Yep. They have an incredible sense of direction and can navigate even in low-light conditions.
So it was like their own little underground postal service.
Exactly. Pretty resourceful, right?
Very resourceful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the workers, the animals. Now let's talk about the water itself.
All right, let's go back to the source, the Catskill Mountains.
Beautiful, rugged, and full of fresh water.
It's amazing to think that water travels all the way from those mountains to New York City.
It's like a natural pipeline.
And it's all thanks to that incredible tunnel we've been talking about.
Built by those amazing sandhogs.
With the help of some mules and pigeons, of course. Of course.
Hmm.
So remember when Explicato said the Delaware Aqueduct was the longest continuous tunnel in the world?
Yeah, they did.
Well, we know that's not quite true anymore.
Right. There's that one in China that's even longer.
But the Delaware Aqueduct is still the longest continuous tunnel in the Western Hemisphere.
That's right. And it's still an incredible feat of engineering.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we have this amazing tunnel bringing water from the Catskills to New York City.
It's all happening right beneath our feet.
I know. It's like a hidden world down there.
A vital world that we often take for granted
It's easy to forget where our water comes from.
until something goes wrong.
Right. Well, hopefully that won't happen with the Delaware Aqueduct.
They're doing everything they can to keep it in good shape.
Yeah, those ongoing repairs are crucial.
They are. They're basically rebuilding sections of the tunnel to make sure it lasts for generations to come.
It's like giving the aqueduct a major overhaul.
Exactly. And they're using technology to monitor the aqueduct's health, too.
So they can catch any problems early on.
Right. Prevention is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This aqueduct may be over 100 years old, but it's far from obsolete.
It's a living, evolving system,
And it's still playing a vital role in supplying water to New York City.
just like it has for over a century.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the importance of the Delaware Aqueduct.
Me too. It's an incredible story of engineering innovation and human determination.
And we're not done yet.
There's still more to discover.
Let's dive into some of the quirky and surprising facts that Explicato didn't have time to cover.
All right, you ready for some more aqueduct trivia?
Okay, lay it on me.
Yeah.
What are those quirky aqueduct facts?
All right, so get this. During World War II, the aqueduct was actually guarded by armed soldiers.
Seriously? Like they thought someone was going to blow it up or something.
Well, it wasn't quite that dramatic, but they were worried about sabotage.
I mean, it makes sense, right? It
Yeah.
was a vital part of the city's infrastructure.
Exactly. Any disruption to the water supply would have been a huge problem.
Yeah, so they had soldiers patrolling a tunnel. That's wild.
It does sound a bit like a movie. And speaking of movies, during the Cold War, there were rumors that the Soviets had planted a nuclear device in the aqueduct.
Hold on. A nuclear bomb? Are you serious?
It was never confirmed, but it was a real concern at the time.
Wow. I mean, talk about Cold War paranoia.
Right. The idea was they could detonate it and cripple the city's water supply.
That's a scary thought.
It is.
Yeah.
It shows how important this aqueduct is.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so from wars and bombs to something a bit less dramatic.
Oh, yeah. What do you have in mind?
What about the construction of the aqueduct itself? Were there any controversies?
Oh, yeah, definitely. For one thing, acquiring the land for the aqueduct's route was a huge challenge.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people probably weren't too happy about having their land taken.
Right. And there were also concerns about the environmental impact.
I mean, this was before people were really thinking about the environment, right?
Exactly. It was a different time. There wasn't as much awareness about those things.
So they were building this massive tunnel without really knowing what the long-term effects might be.
Pretty much. It's interesting to think about how much things have changed.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so land disputes, environmental concerns, what else?
Well, how about this? The original estimated cost of the aqueduct was $18 million.
18 million. Back then. That's going to be like $1 billion today.
It was a fortune. And guess what? The final cost ended up being closer to $50 million.
Oof. Typical government project, am I right?
Well, it was a massive undertaking.
Yeah, and it shows how important they thought this project was.
Absolutely. And here's a fun fact. The aqueduct actually generated revenue for the city.
Wait, what? How did a tunnel make money?
They sold the excess dirt and rock excavated during construction.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it was used for landfill construction materials, even fertilizer.
Talk about turning waste into profit.
Exactly, they were ahead of their time.
And all of this resulted in one of the greatest engineering feats of the 20th century.
Right, the Delaware Aqueduct has won numerous awards and accolades.
A national treasure.
And it's still going strong, delivering billions of gallons of fresh water to New York City every single day.
You know, this deep dive has been incredible. I had no idea how much there was to learn about the Delaware Aqueduct.
It's a fascinating story.
It really is. It's amazing to think about all the history, the engineering, the human effort behind something as simple as turning on a tap.
Yeah, we often take these things for granted.
So next time you're in New York City and you take a sip of water, remember the Delaware Aqueduct.
And all the people who made it possible.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
What's going on? Are you hungry? Is that what you're gonna do when you're hungry now?